All right, ready. Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Medina. I am a graduate student at the School of Public Health and the Community Health Sciences Division. So for the past 2 years, I have been a research assistant for the Climate Justice Partnerships Project within the Office of Planning, Sustainability, and Project Management with our community partners, Urban Growers Collective. And I'm excited to share with you all the work that I've been working on, which is fostering equitable community university partnerships for environmental justice. So as I just mentioned, CJP is a joint effort between UIC, PSPM, and our long-term community partner, Urban Growers Collective. So the sustainability team promotes the UIC climate commitments that we might all know of. So these goals and efforts are outlined in the Climate Action Implementation Plan and includes climate resilience, which really acknowledges the need to engage with our surrounding communities to mitigate climate change. UGC is a community-based organization that addresses structural racism and inequity through urban agriculture. And really our relationship between UIC and UGC has been continuously exploring ways for research academic institutions like UIC to collaborate with community partners more effectively. So our project this year is kind of a continuation from our findings and efforts from last year. So during 2021-2022 academic year, CJP created the Climate Justice Asset Map and a report of best practices, which were all guided by community feedback. So the development of both of these products really streamlines pathways towards equitable community university partnerships for environmental and also climate justice. So as we create equitable models towards community engagement and begin co-producing projects with our community partners to improve EJ and CJ, we really had a question of how do we effectively measure the success of these projects and the impacts it has on communities. Okay, I did. Okay, so the traditional process of choosing indicators does not involve a collaborative approach, leading to indicators that are not relevant, useful, or effective at all. So outcomes of this year's project really include a framework for collaboratively selecting indicators and also a tool that identifies significant EJ and health metrics to measure the impact of these collaborative projects. So we utilize the EPA Community Action for a Renewed Environment, which is CARE. And this outlines measurement tips and also resources for community projects. And this was used as a guide for our work. We also held interviews and sent Google Forms to university assets that were previously identified in the asset map. And this was really to gain a better understanding if evaluations were being conducted within these collaborative projects and what indicators were utilized to measure the impact of these projects. And a huge oversight on my part, so my bad, but I forgot to include that we also did a literature review to really gain insights on collaborative approaches within evaluations. So this framework attempts to support the overall evaluation plan through a comprehensive process, again, for selecting culturally appropriate, relevant, and also equitable environmental justice and health indicators to evaluate the impact of collaborative projects within UIC. So the first step in this process is revisiting historical, social, cultural, and also environmental context of the community where the project is being implemented or where the partners are from. So environmental justices, as we might all know, they're complex, interrelated, and they're really specific to each community. So revisiting these community contexts and also characteristics is really critical to framing important indicators to measure. The second is reassessing project goals and outcomes. So as you know, we might all know projects often deviate from the initial goals and outcomes that were initially developed in the program. So program staff and also community partners should collaboratively, sorry, I've been saying that through this whole presentation, assess project goals and outcomes. The third step is to determine indicators that university and program stakeholders value as important to measure within the project in relation to the project outcomes and also community values. So really asking the questions of what do program staff value as important to measure and what do community stakeholders within the project value as important to measure in the community in relation to the project. The fourth is aligning indicators that the community and project staff determined as valuable to measure. So this step really involves continuous conversations to reveal similarities or differences between the indicators. So during this process, project staff should continuously acknowledge and also value collaborators' expertise as they bring a unique perspective of the EJ community. And then also just given the interconnectedness of environmental justice and health, this next step, which is connecting environmental justice indicators collaboratively identified with health indicators in the community. And the sixth and final step, finally, is establishing success thresholds based on indicators that were collaboratively chosen, and establishing thresholds that will accurately measure the impact of the project. So by cross-referencing several environmental justice screening tools like the EPA, Maryland EJ screen tool, among others, and reviewing literature, we were able to develop a list of environmental justice and health metrics that are significant and also important to measure in the community. So this table is being developed into an interactive online tool, which we hope to launch in a couple of weeks. So we did have a few limitations despite our best efforts. I would say that these are a few limitations that we have currently, and we are trying to resolve some of these. So overall, there were low survey responses and interviews conducted. We faced many barriers in providing compensation for community members, which resulted in a lack of community feedback at this stage of the framework and tool. However, I do want to note that these are not finalized versions of the tools, because in 2 weeks, we are going to be disseminating our findings in a virtual open forum to really gather community and university feedback. We are also going to develop a report of the framework, compiling everything together and integrating that essential aspect of community feedback into the final versions of the project outcomes. And then lastly, just continuing our efforts to creating sustainable and effective models for partnerships to mitigate climate injustices. That's it.